Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of Embody Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. This class is called Total Eclipse of My Heart. You know that song? Well, we're celebrating the solar eclipse. So I thought we'd do a practice that involves not only sun salutations, which are probably familiar to you, but also moon salutations. So moon salutations actually have to do a lot with our legs, so lunges and a bit of back bending. So we'll get into it. So some props we'll be using, of course, our yoga blocks, a couple yoga blocks, if you have those, or a couple of hardbound books, that will be handy. I like to have my bolster nearby, just in case. I'm not sure if we'll be using it for practice today, but a bolster or a big pillow, even just something soft to sit on is nice. So that's nearby. And of course, we like to have something soft like a blanket or a towel or even another yoga mat that you can lie out here too. So let's start in seated. So as you find your comfortable seat, you can sit with your legs crossed if that feels comfortable for you. If you need to today, go ahead and extend your legs, or if you need a little extra support, go ahead and sit up against a wall or sit in a chair. So wherever you are, just sit up nice and tall, nice lengthened spine. We'll start with a few deep breaths. As you inhale, just feel that energy move through you. Nice full breath in, and you can exhale through your mouth. With a nice sigh. You might even feel your body relax here. Let's do that again. A nice full breath in, and exhale. Then just settle into your breath. Just slow, steady breaths here as you get reacquainted with your breathing. You can do this with your eyes opened, maybe just gently gaze forward or downward at the ground, or just close your eyes. Just feel your breath. Listen to the sound of your breath. Even in these first few moments, we're already practicing yoga. I like to think that yoga is the exercise of paying closer attention to yourself, moving a little deeper, getting more connected. Good. Just hold here for a few more moments. Just slow, steady breaths in and out. Let's begin to add a little bit more energy to the breath. As you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward to fill your lungs. So a nice deep, expansive breath. So you feel this expansion across the chest. Then exhale, as you're able, draw your belly button in towards your spine. Just a light pull inward from here. So a light contraction of your abdominal muscles. Again, as you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward, filling up your lungs. You might even feel the lengthening in your spine, sitting up a little taller. Exhale, pull belly in just gently so you have a good sense of your center. And just keep doing that for a few more breaths. Very good. Let's take 3 more breaths like this in stillness, and then we'll add a very simple movement. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you. Then all the way up to complete the inhale. And exhale, extend your arms out, reaching across the room with good energy, finishing the exhale as your arms come back down to your side. Let's do that again. Inhale, extend your arms out and up, reaching upward. And exhale, reaching out and right back down. Go ahead and continue this on your own, moving and breathing at your own pace. Feel as if you were perhaps inflating a balloon and your arms just float up into the air. And as you exhale, the arms just float back down. Again, just moving at your own pace. No need to move exactly how I'm moving. You can keep your eyes closed for this if you'd like. And while you're moving, also notice what this feels like in your body. Notice the energy in your arms as you reach. Good effort, reaching through your fingertips. Notice the sensation in your shoulders, down the sides of your body. And of course, continue to focus on your breath. Now finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time. And when you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down. Let them relax. Come back to stillness and just take a few breaths here. While still seated, let's bring the hands behind us. Maybe just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. As you bring your arms back, also notice how the shoulders also come back as well, creating a nice opening in the front body. I'm going to bring both hands back, rolling the shoulders back, and just tip the chin up a little bit. What we're creating is what I call a mild seated back bend. So since we are practicing sun salutes and moon salutes, like I mentioned, have some back bends in them. So we can consider this our first back bend. Again, shoulders back, chin tipped up slightly, and then let's begin. Inhale, press into the ground with your fingers and just feel the energy shoot up the arms. Feel the breath rise, filling up your lungs. That nice expansive feeling across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. Exhale, pull belly button in towards spine. Let's do that again. Inhale, press into the ground. Breath rising, fill your lungs. Exhale, pull belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. You might notice much more sensation created in the body, and that's one of the intentions of this pose. Just noticing what's happening in your body. Let's take 2 more breaths. Good. When you're complete, just lower your chin, and you can walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up tall, and your hands can once again rest in your lap. And return to stillness and notice that transition from that active, engaged body to a little bit more relaxation in the body. So since that was a back bend, we want to do a counter pose, which is a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, we're going to uncross the legs, reposition the legs to create bound angle pose or cobbler's pose. So we'll place the soles of the feet together, knees will be bent and kind of pointing out. Here, if you have your books or blocks or even some small pillows or rolled up towels perhaps, maybe just tuck them underneath the legs so your legs can relax on those props as we create this hip opener. Go ahead and hold on to your shins or ankles. Inhale to sit up as tall as you can, nice lengthened spine. And as you exhale, pull belly button in and start to hinge forward, leading with your heart and chin just a little bit. If you need to, you can even reach out to hold on to your toes. Another inhale to continue the lengthening of your spine. At this new angle of the body, exhale, pull belly button in, and as you're able, hinging forward a tiny bit. So we're not moving too far, and we're certainly not moving too fast. That's certainly one of the qualities we like to express in our soft flow practice. Just taking your time, moving slowly, and only moving into poses at about 50, 60, or 70%. So really dialing it back from that full 100%. Even if you can fold deeper, no need to in this practice. We like to do a lot of modifications and variations of poses. So I'm just holding here. I have some light sensation of an inner leg stretch. This feels good. And you also want to feel as if you could hold the pose for, maybe a couple minutes perhaps. Don't want to feel like you're straining your body. Let's take 2 more breaths. So this is our forward fold. And we're going to hinge our way back up to re-extend the spine, sitting up nice and tall, and just hold here for a moment. All right, we're going to change our position. Let's first move our blocks out of the way. I'm going to swing the legs around. Let's all come to hands and knees. And maybe you've got something soft underneath you, like your blanket or towel. And I like to open mine up to a rectangle here. There we go. So you can kneel on at one end and have your hands at the other. So we're in a tabletop posture. Let's move into cat pose and cow pose. They move together to flow. When you inhale and tip the chin up, looking forward, even feel like your heart is moving forward. At the same time, tip the pelvis back. Okay, you'll feel your belly kind of drop down towards the floor, and you'll create a back bend. This is cow pose. Then exhale, starting with the tail end, tuck underneath, pelvis tucks under. Feel your belly button pull up towards spine. Notice the curvature of the spine and chin tucks into chest. This is cat. I'm breaking this down. Inhale, once again starting with the back end, tip the pelvis back, belly drops. There's our back bend. Heart moving forward, look forward. Exhale, round it all out. Make sure your hands are pressing firmly into the floor to maintain straight arms. Then begin to notice the nice undulation of your spine as we move through these two postures that flow together nicely. Cat pose and cow pose. Pay attention at first to our cow pose. That's the back bend. Of course, that's part of our practice today. Some back bends. Then also pay attention closely to your cat pose, where you're engaging your core by pulling belly button up towards spine. Get in this nice fluidity through your back body. Finish the breath that you're on and take two more. And then just come to a neutral tabletop position. We'll hold here for a moment. Now this could put a lot of pressure on the hands. We like to take a little break here. So first, tuck your toes behind you, and then just start to shift back to take the weight and pressure off your hands so you can lift them off the floor. And I like to give them a little circle here, like circle the wrists, wiggle the fingers, flex, and kind of drop the hands, getting the counter position of that force flex in the hands, just to take some of that strain away. Now while we're here, we're going to add a new pose, which will be part of our moon salutes, because they involve some lunges. So I'm just going to fold my blanket in towards me and actually get my knees on it just to have a little extra padding. I'm also going to bring in my blocks, one on either side here. Okay, so what we'll do here, so I'm going to lean over to my left knee, my hands over to my left, so I can actually step my right foot forward. You're actually in front of my blanket here. I'm just going to use the blocks to help kind of guide my way up and hold my way up. So I'm here. So I've kind of created two right angles in the legs, here in front and then in the back here. But we're going to change this front one just a little bit. I like to lean back a little bit, taking the weight off the foot and wiggle the foot forward, so we're changing this angle. So your knee, if we drew a straight line down, it'll hit the floor rather than the ankle bone right there, okay? And that's going to allow us to lunge forward slowly and carefully without putting any pressure on this front knee. And you can use the blocks here. So I'm going to wiggle my foot forward. I'm going to inhale and get as tall as I can here. Then exhale, start to just kind of send my hips forward, just using these blocks, kind of like walking sticks, to gently get into this left hip flexor. Not going to go too deeply. Alrighty, I'm even going to keep my blocks up as high as I can. I'm using my fists to kind of push into the blocks to stabilize the body. Now, I'm about, I would say, a good 70% in this posture, because I do feel this in this back leg, lunging forward, getting into the hips, hip flexor, and there's certainly effort of holding my body in place. Couple more breaths here. Alrighty. So using the blocks again, just pushing into the blocks to help pull out of that pose. I'm going to use both blocks over here just for a little stability in keeping the height away from the floor. Just moving my blocks over to my left so I can bring this right leg back, knee to the earth, and walk my blocks over to the other side so I can step the left foot forward. We'll do the same thing. Nice and tall here. I'm going to wiggle this left foot forward, changing that angle so I can do my deep lunge. Inhale, get as tall as can be. Exhale, start to hinge forward. And you notice how I shift forward. There is a shift here, so the knee does end up eventually over the ankle bone. And no pressure here in the shin or kneecap. But I do have sensation in the right hip flexor. Just find that spot that feels just right for you. Again, I think about 70% for me in this pose. It doesn't look like I'm in the pose too deeply. Yes, I certainly could go lower and go deeper, but I would feel like I'm straining my body. In this case, I certainly feel this, but I'm not fully in the pose, and we're not going to hold it that long. We're just really kind of introducing this sensation to the body. All right, one more breath. Pushing into the block so I can pull back and out of that deep sensation. I'm going to use my blocks again over to my right so I can bring my left knee back down to the mat. I'm going to keep my blocks here. Let's get set up for downward facing dog. I'm going to go ahead and crawl off the blanket and just set it to the side. And come back to hands and knees and we'll get set up for our pose. At first, you might have the wrist directly underneath the shoulders, but just as we did with the feet earlier, we're going to step the hands forward. If we drew a straight line from our shoulders straight down, it would hit the floor. And as you step the hands forward, spread out your fingers pretty wide. Nice stretch between each finger. And kind of lean into the palms. Push as if you were leaving an imprint of your whole palm into your mat. Also pressing for the energy, strength, and length in your arms. Tuck your toes. We're going to do one more cat-cow. So inhale, cow. That's the back bend. Looking forward. There's our back bend. Exhale into cat. Round it out. Hold cat pose. Pull belly button up towards spine. And then lift knees off the earth. Send your hips up into the air. You'll notice the natural press of the hands into the floor and head and chest kind of sinking down between the arms. You might even adjust the feet as I just did on your mat, and then maybe your hands. Feel free to keep the knees pretty well bent here. That will create a little bit more mobility in your hips, and you can even send them up a little higher, creating more length in the torso. Opens the chest, back, and shoulders. From here, take a few steps forward until your feet are probably, let's say, center on the mat, but flat on your mat. And then slide your fingertips towards your toes. So we're in a forward fold. But we're going to inhale and slide the hands up the legs, maybe to your shins or knees. Hold here on the exhale and just kind of manipulate your body, trying to feel this out. And notice that your torso is parallel to the floor. We're going to hold here. Let's situate the body so your feet are firm on the ground as if you were standing. We'll get there in a moment. Keeping that good bend in the knees, you're going to feel the legs engage to help you hold this posture. Nice lengthening through the torso. Half forward fold. From here, shift the weight back into the heels so you can easily tap your toes, bending the knees, lowering the hips a little bit, lifting the chest, and then take the arms out to the side. I like to imagine this was like an eagle getting ready to take flight from a branch on a tree or a mountain cliff. Push the heels into the floor to help you straighten the legs, standing up tall. Let's get even taller by extending the arms all the way up into the air. Then exhale, arms come down to your side. We've made it to our first standing pose. Here we are, mountain pose. I'm just going to arrange my feet so my toes are pointing directly forward. Nice and tall here. Arms down to the side. And let's go ahead and turn the palms forward. As we turn the palms forward, we get a nice outer rotation in the arms and shoulders, which allows for opening up across the chest for good posture. Let's take a breath here. Good. Now inhale and extend your arms out and up. Just reach, good stretch. Exhale, bring the arms back down. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Just a very simple movement. We did this seated. Inhale, reach out and up. Just experiencing movement through the arms now that we're standing, and a nice lengthened spine. 1 more time. Inhale, reach out and up. And exhale. Alrighty. From our standing position, let's move into a variation of Warrior One. We're going to start with soft knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Even lean forward a tiny bit. You might even feel your toes grip your mat so that your left foot feels light. You can start to lift the heel and just tap the foot back. Keep the heel lifted and just back until it just naturally stops. You're going to do an outer rotation of the arm and leg and plant the heel into the floor. And you'll feel your whole body shift back so you're centered here. Now go ahead and place your hands on your hips. Push pelvis down as if you're trying to push it all the way to the floor. Meanwhile, you're lifting up through the spine and torso, creating as much space as you can around the belt line. That way you can turn easily to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend both arms up. Exhale, bend your elbows to about 90 degrees here. This is a very mild lunging position, a variation of Warrior One that I like to do in our class. We'll of course be doing another version of Warrior One. Okay, let's go ahead and inhale, extend the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms down, bring them back down to your hips. Lean forward, put weight into the right foot. Pick up that back heel, inner rotate the left leg until all 10 toes are pointing forward. We'll step the left foot forward, and there we are, planted on both feet. Let's inhale, extend the arms out and up. Get nice and tall here. Exhale, arms return to your side. Just pause for a moment, and we'll get set up for the other side. Again, starting with soft knees, then shifting weight into left foot. Lean forward slightly, grip the mat with your toes. Right foot should be light. Peel the right heel off the floor and tap the foot back until it naturally stops. Outer rotate the right arm and right leg so you can plant the right heel into the floor, shifting the body weight back so you're balanced here between the feet. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as you get nice and tall, creating some space in your center. Now the knees can be very soft, okay? Nice bends in the knee. Then inhale, extend the arms out and up. Exhale, we'll just bend the elbows to about 90 degrees. Pay attention to just balancing on both feet in this mild lunge, just a simple separation between the feet. Our variation of Warrior One. Let's continue moving. Inhale, re-extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, arms come down, hands to hips. Lean forward. Let's put weight into this left foot. Inner rotate that right foot as you lift the right heel. And then step forward, both feet together, balanced on 2 feet. Then inhale, re-extend both arms all the way up. Exhale, arms return to your side. And go ahead and just turn the palms forward again. So let's just start Warrior One series. Let's do a half salute here. It's a forward fold, and we'll come back up, just generating more energy and warmth and movement. Inhale, let's take the arms out and up. This exhale, spread your wings, become that eagle on the mountaintop, bending the knees, sitting back into the imaginary chair. Then go ahead and let your chest come lower towards your thighs. Let the hands and head drop, releasing heavily. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees and extend your spine long and flat here. We're going to exhale and refold. So we start to feel a stretch through the back side of the body, down through the legs, and of course the back. Make sure your head is relaxed here so you can easily nod yes a few times, shake your head no, even some movement in the shoulders. Let's get ready to stand. So shifting the weight again into the heel so your toes feel light. Bend your knees, lower your hips down towards
an imaginary chair that's behind you. Same time lifting chests, we maintain that lengthened spine. Come up to about 45 degrees. Spread your eagle wings here. Press heels into the floor, standing tall. Inhale, rising up. Big stretch here at the top. Exhale, arms down to your side. Excellent. We'll just pause here for a moment. Maybe it's just some big circles with the shoulders, a couple of times backward and a couple of times forward. Excellent. All righty. I'm just going to move my bolster just off the mat there and return to the top of the mat. Let's go ahead and continue. Moving through our sun salutation. Inhale, extend the arms out and up. We'll take our time. Exhale, spread your wings, sit back and down to the imaginary chair. Weights in the heels, belly comes down towards thighs. Lower your hands and head, go heavy. Inhale, rise up halfway. Feel the crown of your head lead you forward to fully extend your spine. This exhale, we're refolding, but bend your knees more, get closer to the ground so your hands can meet the ground. Then start walking both of your feet to the back end of your mat. And then lower the hips slightly so we draw this straight line in the body. And maybe your hips are at the same alignment as your shoulders. Spreading out the fingers, pressing palms strongly into the earth. We have strong arms in our plank pose. Inhale. This exhale, bend your knees slightly, then send your hips up into the air, moving into downward facing dog. We're going to step the feet forward just a tiny bit, okay? And I like to take my hands slightly wider on the mat. So we've returned to downward facing dog. Okay, let's add our second version of Warrior One. Listen carefully. You're going to step your left foot in to center on your mat, so you can pick up your right foot. That way you kind of create this tripod with your one foot in the two hands. Extend your right leg straight back and maybe up, reaching dynamically. Strong straight leg and arms. Inhale again. Exhale, bend right knee. Bring the right knee in towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward until your shoulders are over your wrists. You're going to set your toes on the floor. Heel is lifted, but then set your left knee onto the floor. From here, pulling the hips back so you can take some weight off this right hand, free up the right hand, reach back and go grab your right ankle to pick up the foot and place it up higher on the mat. This is going to create more distance between the feet. Now, let's relift the left knee. You can already see the distance between the feet. Outer rotate that left foot or leg so the heel is on the floor. I like to walk the hands back and start sending weight back into that foot so we feel some balance here between the feet. Rising up to fingertips just to start to elongate through the spine. Let's continue that process by bringing both hands up to the right thigh. Nice bend in this knee. Bring hands to mid-thigh. Press into the thigh to lift to about 45 degrees. Nicely extended spine. Make sure you have some good anchorage in that back foot so you can free up the hands, spread your wings, reach out, reach up into the air. Inhale. Exhale, let's just bend this right knee. And there's our Warrior One. Now, the change here, of course, is more distance between the feet, so you might have more sensation in this left hip flexor, and the arms are straight. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward carefully. I like to flip the palms down so we can catch ourselves on the hands. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. You'll end up in this low lunge. Firm press into the floor with your hands so you can slide the right foot back to meet the other, plank pose. Bend the knees, send your hips up into the air, returning to downward facing dog. Adjust your feet, adjust your hands so you can fully arrive in your pose. Remember, it's all okay to bend your knees quite a bit. Send your hips higher up into the air. More firm of a press into the mat with your hands, strong straight arms. Even relax your head. Let's do the other side. Starting with the right foot to step at center to create our tripod. Then pick up left foot, extend the left leg back behind you. Inhale to extend leg and arms. Exhale, bend left knee. Bring the knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward, shoulders over the wrists, and just set the left foot down, heel lifted. Right knee comes to the ground, pull away from the hand so you can free up this left hand. Let's go get the foot, picking up by the ankle and setting it forward. Let's re-lift the right knee, pivot or turn the right leg so you can plant the right heel into the floor, rise up to fingertips and step the hands back so you can put more weight in that back foot, creating balance. Let's rise up to this thigh, one hand then two hands, push into mid-thigh, extending the spine, and we're about 45 degrees here. Hopefully you have good anchorage in that back foot. Extend the arms out and up, reaching into the air. Exhale, lunge. And there's our warrior one. Inhale here. Exhale, hinge and fold, bringing the hands down to the earth. Plant the hands. Let's re-lift that back heel. Pressure into the hands, strong straight arms. So you can easily slide this left foot back. There's plank. Hold. Now bring both knees to the floor. We're going to sit back briefly in hero pose. Sit off to the side so we can swing the legs around to the front. Or let's do our bridge pose, which is a back bend. Scoot forward so you're sitting in the center of your mat. If you need something soft to lie on, you might want to put a blanket or towel here, but you will need your books or blocks nearby. When you're set, go ahead and roll down onto your back carefully, and then bring the knees in. You might even add some movement here. I like to do some circles and figure eights, just as a little massage for the back and hips, and also to check in with the feet. Just since the feet are free here, we can circle the ankles, flex and point. All right, our next back bend as we prepare for our moon salutes. Let's place the feet on the mat here. I like to take the feet a bit wider than the hips. For me, that just feels better on my back and hips. I feel like there's more space available to me. Here we go. Make sure you can grab one of your blocks or two of your blocks. You're going to inhale, fill up your lungs. You can exhale through the mouth. And with that energy now lifting the hips into the air high enough to slide a book or a block or blocks, depending on how large your blocks are, and then sit on the block. I've turned my block up to what I call level 2, just high enough but not too high so I can just sit and just hold here. Nice opening for the whole front side of the body. Not dramatic at all, which is nice. I can hold this pose. I could probably hold this pose for quite some time. I would even consider this a good, maybe just a nice 50% as far as effort in this posture. And some deep breaths gives you an opportunity to really focus on your breathing here as you feel the opening through the front portion of the legs, your belt line, hip flexors, low belly, and your chest. So a heart opener or back bend. We're going to add one more thing, and we're going to do it very briefly because it does add a bit more sensation. So making sure you're sitting on something solid, and even the hands on the floor for some balance and stability. I'm going to extend my leg out in front on the floor, and then the other leg. So you kind of get this little hill in the body, but you can feel this pull that's happening through kind of this midsection of the body. I'm not going to hold this too long. And step the feet back in for more stability. There we go. Just want to create that length there. Now pressing feet into the earth to lift the hips, moving the block out from underneath, and then slowly rolling to the ground. And once you've made it to the ground, we'll extend the legs out front and reach the arms behind. Good extension and stretch. We're going to come to seated, but first draw both knees into chest. To rise up, you can certainly rock your way up, but in soft flow, taking our time, roll to one side, press yourself up here. We come to a variation of boat pose. So I like to keep the knees bent, feet flexed, heels on the floor. Hold on to the bend in the knees to help lift yourself up nice and tall. Inhale again, and exhale, pull belly in for a little support and lean back a little. And this is our version of boat pose for soft flow. You can continue holding on to the legs to maintain that good lift in the upper body so you don't fall back or drop into your back like that, rounding the spine. Or you can even free up the hands for a moment here if you'd like, just to feel that effort of the core engagement. Now, we're going to move through another sun salutation, and then I'll introduce you to a moon salutation. Now, these are going to be variations of these sequences. All right, softening this up, return to hands and knees. So I'm just going to swing the legs around back. Here's hands and knees. Let's set up for down dog, stepping the hands forward, spread out the fingers, nice strong straight arms. Tuck toes, cat-cow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Lift knees off the floor, send hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Adjust the feet, adjust your hands, arriving in your pose. Alrighty, warrior one setup. Step the left foot to center. Inhale, extend right leg up. Exhale, right knee bends, shifting forward as you're able. Foot lands behind the wrist. Now you can certainly do the variation we did earlier to get the foot up to the top of the mat if you're unable to step all the way up. You're going to turn left heel to the floor. Walk the hands back to get weight into that foot, find that balance. Extending spine or rising to fingertips, hands to thighs, rise to 45 degrees. Long spine, arms out and up, inhale, warrior one. Hold for a moment because we're going to open this up to a warrior two. Inhale first, exhale, turn torso to the left side of the room, arms come down to parallel. I like to adjust that back foot just for the hip, knee, and ankle stability. Here we are, nice knee bend, but not going past the ankle, knee right over the ankle. Hold for a moment here. Big windmill, starting with this back hand up and around to the front. Turn to face forward, hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Push into the floor with the hands, slide right foot back, plank pose. Let's add something here. Bend your knees, bring them to the floor. You can flatten your feet if you're able. We're going to add another back bend, but first finishing this push-up. So with knees on the floor, bend your elbows and as best as you can, squeeze them in towards your body rather than outside the body, and lower your way down to your belly. Here, make sure the legs are long, toes are pointed behind you. Roll the shoulders back, lift just your head like you were a snake, okay? Looking forward. You can even lift the chest a little bit. Right there. So we're going to call this low cobra. Inhale. As you exhale, you might relax your head, but generate energy by pushing into the floor with the hands, sitting the hips up and back. You might even sit back briefly in a child's pose just to stretch out the arms, sink the chest, and then come up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, send hips into the air. Now, to me this feels like my feet are too far away from my hands, that's why I like to tiptoe forward slightly to get the hips much higher up. I like to form a high mountain peak. Other side, stepping right foot to center. Inhale, extend left leg into the air, reach. Exhale, bend left knee so we can step up to the top of the mat, or again, use that variation we used earlier to set yourself up. Turn right heel to the floor, step hands to center. Elongate through spine, hands to thighs, lifting up to about 45 degrees. Spread your wings. Inhale, reach out, reach up. Inhale, exhale, lunge, warrior one. Just arriving in the pose, just breathe in again. Exhale, opening the body to the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel, adjusting that back foot. There's our warrior two. Checking in with alignment. Left knee and toes are pointing forward. You feel nice and tall. Arms are parallel to the floor. Good effort of reaching out across the room. Windmill out of it. Right hand up and around to the front. Flip the palms up. Land on the hands. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. There's our low lunge. Push firmly into the mat with the hands. Slide left foot back. There's plank pose. We're going to do another kind of push-up position. So we're going through a vinyasa here. Bring the knees to the floor, long legs, pointed toes, finishing the push-up. Lowering your chest by bending elbows, squeeze them in towards your ribs, come all the way down to the ground. Rolling the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades together, making sure there's energy in the legs, reach and point through your toes. A simple lift of the head and chest. Inhale. As you exhale, relax the head. Effort of pushing hands into the floor, pushing back to hands and knees. Tuck toes, lift knees, hips into the sky. Downward facing dog. Adjusting the feet. So that's our sun salute. Let's do our moon salute. It's going to start in standing. So go ahead and start walking the feet forward, again to the center of the mat, and slide your fingertips towards your toes. Hold here for a moment in this nice forward fold. This is a nice counter pose to what's coming up, a series of back bends, and I'll guide you through this. Shifting weight into your heels, bend your knees to lower your hips, extending spine, spread your wings, float all the way up, nice and tall. Straight legs, extend the arms up into the air, exhale arms down to your side. Very good. Feel free to roll your shoulders. So we're going to start in standing because our first back bend is going to be a standing position. And I'll show you how you'll do a standing back bend. It's not too hard. So let's start at the top of the mat. Usually I would do this with the arms in the air, but let's do this with the arms down. Actually, let's do this. Inhale, extend the arms out and up. Exhale, just bring the arms down. Place the hands behind you, like so. So the palms are just at the base of the spine, fingers down, right there. But use the palms to kind of push down and get tall at the same time. Put a bend in the knees and just kind of push the pelvis forward like so. Inhale, keep pushing the pelvis down with the hands. Tip the chin up, and there's our back bend. It's mild. We have a good bend in the knees to help support the body. So this is our back bend. All right, part of our moon salutation. As we inhale, we rise back up. Free the hands, reach the arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into the imaginary chair as we return slowly and carefully down to our forward fold. Let's inhale, slide the hands to the shins or knees to extend the spine. Exhale, fold, bend, and round the back. Get low enough to place hands on the mat. Walk or step the feet back into plank pose. Stepping back, draw that straight line. Once again, you're going to bring the knees to the floor here. Finishing our push-up. Let's inhale just to ensure an extended spine. Exhale, bend elbows carefully, lower chest to the floor. Now our first back bend, we did a low cobra. Let's lift up a tiny bit higher. This will mean stepping the hands back a little bit, so we've created a little bit more of a right angle in the bent arms. Roll the shoulders back. As you inhale, push hands into the floor so you're lifting the upper body, so your belly even comes off the floor. And then just look forward. So the elbows are still bent, but you've lifted higher. So this is our higher back bend. Carefully lower your way back down. Now that certainly takes some arm and upper body strength. If you couldn't get that high, no worries. Inhale. Exhale, push back to hands and knees. Tuck toes, lift knees, lift hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Step left foot to the center. Inhale, extend right leg up. Exhale, step right foot to the top of the mat, landing near right wrist. Shifting the weight back. Now, we're going to keep the left heel lifted. So all 10 toes are still pointing forward. I'm going to step my hands back a little bit so I feel a little bit more balanced. Elongate through spine by rising to fingertips. You can certainly bring hands to thigh again to help lift to about 45 degrees. The only change here really is that back foot. You're on your toes, so you don't have the greatest stability since the whole foot is not on the ground. Extend your arms out and then up, reaching into the air. Exhale, lunge. All right, now this is the first part of our next back bend. What we'll do here, actually let's bring the arms down just to relax them a little bit. Place them on your hips. You're going to bend the left knee more. And that should be able to allow you to kind of create this little scooping action just a little bit through the pelvis. You want to scoop forward. We're trying to create as much space as we can in that low back. You can even place your hands back here like we did in standing. And once we're here, just tip the chin up, but imagine you're sending your chest up, and there's our back bend. Very different sensation. Okay, we're rising back up. Let's take the arms out and up into the air. Exhale, hinge and fold. Hands to the floor. Press hands into the mat. Let's slide the right foot back, plank pose. Carefully send knees to the floor. Finishing the push-up. I flatten the feet back there, coming all the way down to belly. Since we're lifting a little higher, we need a little bit more leverage, so I like to step the hands back a little bit so my arms are more at a 90-degree angle. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze shoulder blades together because that also helps that lift. Inhale, push into the floor, lifting chest, belly, and hips off the floor. If this is your angle in your back bend, then stay here. But maybe you just tip and look forward. Just tip the chin up and look forward. You'll feel the back bend. And then carefully make your way back down to the ground. You can adjust your hands. Inhale. And as you exhale, push back to hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Lift knees and hips. There's our downward facing dog. Stepping into place. Stepping the right foot to center. Inhale, extend left leg into the air. Exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Shifting the body weight back. Balancing so all 10 toes are pointing forward. Hands up to the thigh, lifting up 45 degrees. Inhale, arms out and up. There's our warrior, or our high lunge, I like to call this. Getting ready for our back bend on this side. You're going to bring the arms down, hands on hips or behind you. Okay, so you bend this right knee. You do need to bend the knee. That way you have that mobility in the pelvis here. Scoop underneath. You're going to feel this in your right thigh and hip flexor. As you use your hands to push pelvis down, tip the chin up, send your heart up, and there's our back bend. I'm going to rise back up. Don't worry if you lose your balance. Inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, hinge and fold. Hands to the floor to catch yourself here. Slide left foot back to meet the other. Hold back, there's plank. Let's do one more. Just regular push-up. Knees to the floor. Lower your chest. Mild back bend here. And then push back first to hands and knees, and then taking the knees a little bit wider, sit back, child's pose. That's our sun salute and moon salute, celebrating the solar eclipse. You can walk your hands towards your knees so you can rise up. Let's make our way down to the floor. Sitting off to the side, swing the legs around to the front, scoot way forward here. Blocks are still by your side if you need them, and a blanket. Roll down onto your back. Let's bring the knees to chest. Quite relaxing once you get here onto the ground. So add some movement, your back, your feet. And just holding here, just hold onto your knees or shins, lightly flex your feet, and take the legs wide so we get a little stretch in the inner legs. Let's do a variation of an inverted pose. So bring the knees together. From here, you can just extend the legs straight up into the air and just hold on to the legs. You can also lift your hips. So you can bend your knees, set your feet onto the floor, press feet into the ground to lift the hips, use a block, get it underneath you, and then extend the legs. Sometimes that might even support the body a little bit more, rather than just being flat on the floor and extending the legs. Now this takes the place of some more other dynamic postures like shoulder stand, or even poses like headstand or handstand. So here, just the simulation of being upside down or getting the legs in the air. So lying on your mat or propped up on a block works nicely. 2 more breaths. And then we'll bend the knees and set the feet back down onto the floor. If you were using a prop, let's move that out of the way. Come back down. Let's get into a twist. Let's bring the knees, both knees into chest, and carefully take the knees over to the left side as you extend your right arm over to the right side. Settling in. Noticing the sensations, where it shows up. That's what yoga helps us to do. It just helps us to pay attention to what's happening in our bodies, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. So certainly physically, we could just focus on that. So you might notice, oh, I have sensation in my hips, I feel this in my back. And it's just an observation. It's not about if you're doing it wrong or right. It's really about just noticing that there's feeling, that there's sensation, without judgment. All right, let's bring the knees back up to center. Pause here for a moment. Then we'll take the knees over to the other side. Knees to the right, extend your left arm over to the left. Notice the similarities, notice the differences as you practice on both sides. And wherever you are, just be sure you're breathing, just noticing the sensation. Be the observer, be the witness of your own being without judgment. That's the characteristic of your internal witness, especially in yoga. Non-judgmental. 2 more breaths. We'll bring the knees back up to center. Hold here for a moment. You can go ahead and set the feet onto the floor and just feel the body already settling. It will settle even more by extending the legs out front as we make our way to Shavasana. And your arms just resting down by your side. Continue to feel the whole body relax. Your feet just kind of fall open, which opens the legs in an outer rotation, settles in the hips. You feel your back body melt into the ground, your shoulders, your head, arms, palms facing upward. Feel free to keep your eyes open. You can just gaze upward or close your eyes. Wherever you are, just focus on your breathing. Just settle into this wonderfully relaxed pose. Feel free to hold here in this relaxing position as long as you'd like, especially if you feel quite relaxed. Take the time just to be here. Take advantage of this relaxing moment. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, you're welcome to stay here in Shavasana. When you are ready to move, take your time. You might take 5 slow, deep breaths just to generate energy in your body as you prepare your body to move. Take your time with this process, no rush. And once you've generated enough energy, move slowly. I'm starting by bending my knees, plant the feet into the floor so I can maneuver myself to one side and into a nurturing pose. Press up to seated. And if you'd like, bring in something soft to sit on, your blanket or pillow. And as you're able, crossing your legs in front of you. Nice lengthened spine, relax shoulders, arms and hands. Hold for a moment. And then one more movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up, reaching towards the sky, the stars, the moon, the sun. And bring your hands down to your heart center. Taking one more breath in and out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.